Let the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable to you, O Lord, our strength and our Redeemer. Amen. Let's be honest. Everybody has a weird family. My family and your families are all dysfunctional in their own way. This family in today's story is no exception. Barbara Brown Taylor has suggested, who teaches up at Piedmont College, has suggested that from a 21st century American perspective, there's nothing remarkable about this story. It's about a young guy who strikes out on his own to get his own way of life. Who can argue with that? Wants to strike it rich and spread his wings. I mean, most of us are transplants. How many people are transplants here? Yeah, see, most of us are. Many of us have people in other states. All of us want to make a name for ourselves. It's called initiative. And it's a very motivating thing. It's what the American dream is all about. We can relate to this young guy. I mean, high risk, high reward, get it done, do it right, live your life. Who wants to be daddy's younger son, Junior's younger brother forever? Sure, he screwed up. But the story said he limped home asking for forgiveness. He got a hero's welcome. Everything's cool. He learned his lesson. Is everything cool? Barbara suggests that from a first century Palestinian perspective, this story couldn't be more radical. For the first thing, it's an agrarian society, folks. Most of Jesus' listeners were farmers. To them, the family farm was everything. Anybody raised on a family farm? Here, we've got a couple people who know exactly what that means. Family farm is a symbol for them of their status in the village, of their economic prosperity, of their future direction. No father in the first century before his death would ever dream of dividing the property. You see, to do so would have caused economic instability with the farm, would have also brought shame not only on the father, but on the family. Can you see what the neighbors would have said? Did you see what old MacDonald did? He sold off part of his farm because he placated that bratty younger son of his. Now it would have been one thing if the guy would have come home with more money than he left. But he lost it all. Every dollar to pagan pig owners. The family farm is at risk. Yes, let him come home, but under strict guidelines. Job training, placement services, financial training seminars, deep psychotherapy. What? The father gave him a party? Catered a banquet? Didn't even listen to his excuse as to why he left in the first place? The old guy must be losing it. That's what they thought. He's going to be the laughing stock of the village. I wonder what the good son thought. Not much. Thanks for asking. That good son wouldn't dream of going to that banquet. If the truth be known, the good son thinks the banquet ought to be for him, not his good-for-nothing younger brother. He's not going to walk through that door. So old MacDonald walks through it instead, which is absolutely shocking for a first century Palestinian mind. No patriarch would dream of leaving a party where he was the host while the guests are all there, but he does. He gets up off his seat and he deserts the banquet And he disregards his guests. And he walks out and begs, pleads with his holier-than-thou son to come in. What a putz. For those of you who don't know, putz is the Pennsylvania Dutch version for idiot. Has he no honor? Doesn't he care about etiquette? No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't care about his honor. No, he has absolutely no reason to care why the younger son came home or why the older son wouldn't come in. All he cares about is that they're home. That's what the banquet's all about. That these sons came back. Folks, that's what this banquet is all about too. In case you hadn't noticed, there is in this sanctuary this morning a motley group of younger sons and older sisters. Some of us have squandered our living to people worse than pagan pig owners, and we've got the scars to show for it. Some of us have rejected and denied and ignored some of the most important relationships in our lives. Some of us are so lost we've forgotten that we're even lost. On the other hand, some of us have tried so hard to live that narrow way of life that we have a deep, deep, deep trouble receiving forgiveness and grace when we fail. Some of us are as pompous, as arrogant as we can be, and at times it's only the God of that banquet who can stand to be around us. Whoever we are, wherever we've come from, why ever we're here, the banquet is ready. The God of this banquet doesn't care where you came from, doesn't care why you're here, just cares that you're here. And there are no strict guidelines, no job placement training services, no deep psychotherapy to go through. Just a little bit of bread and a little bit of wine, lovingly offered and prepared to anybody who'll come. Why? Because the kingdom of heaven is led by a God who has two sons. Amen.